Don't ever let somebody tell you can't do something. You gotta dream. You gotta protect. You want something, go get it. Period.
What's up, guys? Jay here with the For the Love Podcast, episode 30. And today I have a buddy of mine named Mike. Mike I met from the gym, as I met a lot of people there. I get into certain conversations with some, and some would sit there and say that I don't look like the type to get into conversations with people, and they often say I look angry or whatever because we tend to just look at the outside of people and we judge people based on that. But when you start to talk to people, you know, usually your judgment is really far off of what it is. And with Mike, I met him at the gym. We got into a conversation years back, and we just shoot the shit a lot. And Mike is a guy that lives a opposite lifestyle than most men. He is a gay man, and it's interesting to come across people that, for me at least, that when you don't live the same lifestyle as people, I want to know everything about individuals, their life, so I can understand people better, and to me that's what life is really about. So today I'm bringing Mike on so we could talk about his lifestyle. We could talk about things that, you know, people that don't live that life might not understand about that life. And I think it's very important for people to try to understand each other better and get to know each other better so that we can come together as people, because obviously we see that that's not happening often. So Mike, you're here today. What's going on? What's up?
Hey Jay, how are you? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So Mike, how old are you?
I will be 57 next month.
Damn, 57. You do not look 57,
Thanks,
bro. Wow, that's interesting.
I have no
kids. And you have no females.
Yeah, no.
So, but that's interesting. I never knew that, dude. I didn't know you were that age.
That
wow.
old. Yeah, you could say
I don't want to say you're old, man, but like in reality, like my dad's 59, and you, I'd probably say that you were maybe in your 40s.
Thank you.
To be honest, yeah, you look like you're in your 40s.
A lot of people are, and I'm not patting myself back. A lot of people have said to me, "You don't look your age," and I always use that joke.
Do you think that's genetics, taking care of yourself?
Yeah.
What do you think?
My mother and father always looked pretty good in my. I take care of myself. I've been working out since I've been 20.
Yeah,
I haven't stopped.
Yeah, that's something that I started when I was 15. Probably got really deep into the gym when I was like in my early 20s and never stopped from there. And now that I'm in my 30s, it's all about anti-aging, feeling good, health, and prolonging my life. And I don't think a lot of people really do that. And sometimes it's too late. It gets to a point. My thing is preventative care. Everything in life should be preventative. You should want to prevent bad things from happening to you. But most people, and this happens a lot in society, we wait and then we try to put Band-Aids on everything, you know, in life in general. So 57, you said. 57.
Soon to be. I'm holding on.
57. So did you grow up in Connecticut your whole life?
Yes.
Okay, where was that?
I grew up in Naugatuck.
Naugatuck. Okay, my sister lived out there for a while. So you went to school out there, everything?
Yeah.
How was that?
It was fine.
Yeah.
I'm the youngest of 5.
Wow, big family.
I have a big gay family too.
Get out of here.
There's 11 of us in my family that are gay.
No.
Yeah.
Wow. And that's interesting because I want to get on the topic of genetics.
Yeah.
And let's kind of, before we get to that point, let's kind of touch on your childhood, touch on things that kind of got you to this point in your life and made you into the man you are. Was your childhood, when you look back, my belief here in life is that childhood is one of the biggest factors of who you are as a human being, as an adult.
Absolutely.
We don't look back at it. Most people don't look back at it and really see the connection, or if they do, it's a constant negative and they can't handle it or deal with it. For you, what do you think? Like, did you have a normal childhood? And when I say normal, I mean obviously not everybody's life is normal, but you know, nothing out of the norm.
I grew up in an all-Italian household, so they're strict.
Yeah.
I had a normal childhood. I just started to notice around 5 years old, I developed crushes on older men.
Really?
Like my pediatrician.
Okay.
Some of my friends' fathers. You don't know what sex is, so this and this are not connected.
Yeah, when you're that young.
But you know there's an attraction, and you like what you're looking at, but you don't know why.
That's interesting.
So, and it would come and go, and then you're like, you know, as you get old, you're like, oh, I can't be thinking that. You know, you try to like push it away.
Did your family kind of like see that in you at all? at a young age?
I think my mother kind of said she knew.
Yeah.
When I was young.
Was there anybody?
I think everybody's mother would know their.
Oh, of course, absolutely. Yeah. And I think that when you see that, most mothers know. Like you said, they know.
My mother had a big problem with it, though.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she told me you got to get out of town.
Wow. We'll get to that.
And my father was the other way. He was the exact opposite.
Wow.
Said,
and most wouldn't think that. Most so like, usually, it's usually the opposite.
No, I know.
That's interesting. Now, we'll get to that in a minute because that's interesting. I want to touch on that when you come out to them. But in your early childhood, knowing this going on in your mind, I think the biggest question for people that aren't in this life or don't have those feelings that you had when you were young to figure it out is whether or not this is a choice or it's a genetic disposition. Right. What's your belief on that?
Well, think about what I just said. At 5 years old, I had attractions.
Yeah.
Attractions are instant. It's not something you think about. Like when I'm sure you see a beautiful woman walk in the room, you're not saying to yourself, do I like her? You're like, no, that's hot. I like her.
That's true.
So
yeah.
it's kind of like what your attraction
like
is.
Like a reflex
right there.
almost.
So I would say it's there. I heard it said that your sexuality is determined by the age of 2. So
really, wow, yeah. That's interesting. I'm gonna have to look into that.
And the partners that you seek out are really a reflection of what you grew up with in your household. Your mother and father is your first relationship. So I think if we all look to our own relationships, you could see where a lot of it's being repeated. And
learned behavior is huge when you're young, and I think some people don't understand. Like the brain for young people between the age of like 1 and 7 or 8, around there, is the most susceptible to things, and that's why I look around in society. I'm like, holy shit, man! Like being a parent is so complex, and I think that a lot of parents, they don't really know that in the moment. They're not doing it properly or correctly, or they don't focus enough.
Right.
I'm 35 now. I don't have kids, and I'm hopefully planning to have those soon at some point in my life. But my outlook on how I want to raise my kids is just to be there for them every second, let them understand themselves and explore life, and obviously give them the rights and wrongs and the bases. Right. But they really, at that point in time when you're young, you need to let them kind of just explore. Yeah. And you can't implement, I don't feel like, because you could possibly be implementing things into their mindsets that could be negative in the future. Right. So for you, young age, you're kind of feeling these thoughts and stuff like that now. So you don't feel it, you feel it was more of a genetic thing or no? Yeah. Because you do have that in your family.
There's so many of us in my family. Yeah. I have an older brother who's almost 11 years older. He's gay. He was married to a woman, had 2 kids.
Wow.
His son is gay.
Yep.
That's my nephew.
That's crazy.
I have a lot of nieces and nephews that are gay, cousins, all men and women.
Yeah.
So
and now it's interesting because that's huge. That's a big family of.
But remember when my brother got married during the 70s, early 70s, you get married. There was no talk of gay. No, an Italian Catholic, you get married. So he kind of did what was expected of him. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying what he did was right, but he manned up and finally took charge of his life. And
that's the most important.
He's happy. She moved on, got married, and everybody's and they're friends now.
Things happen for reasons.
So
that's wild.
And there's a lot of men that struggle with that.
I think so. It's interesting. It was funny because I don't know if you know the bar down in New Haven, Partners.
Yeah, I came out there.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah.
Wow. So that was the first time you came out to who there?
No, I mean coming out of the closet. I meant.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So
I just went by myself and met up with people and became friends.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah. Oh, so meaning like when you came out, that's where you kind of went to kind of like.
And there was also
get into the whole.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, so you wanted to meet people of that type. I got you. Okay, so now, but what I'm getting at is now I remember this vividly, and this was something in my mind because of the profession that I was in and stuff like that. One day I was driving and I was stopped at Partners. And I looked to my left, and there was men outside, and some of these guys looked like just the normal businessmen, this and that, whatever. And a thought popped in my mind of how many men are actually, living this lifestyle on the low, and then they're going to places like that, and then they are leaving and going home to their wife and kids, knowing that that's the life that they really like and want, but being too afraid to live it.
I think they think somehow that their sexuality is like this 800-pound gorilla in the room that they don't want to deal with, but in reality, it's like a 3-pound puppy.
Yeah, most people don't really care as much. You know what I mean?
I would say this, that 98% of everybody they know wouldn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
They'd say, what took you so long?
Yeah.
I mean, there'll be the 2% that'll give you a hard time, but you know what? That's fine, whatever.
I always looked at it like this. This was my perception of sexuality. And just in reality, everything how I look at, I don't really care what other people are doing.
Me neither.
I don't. Live your life as long as you're not hurting people.
Right.
I don't care what you do. I want everybody to find what they love.
As long as it's legal, too.
Well, yeah. I mean, to a certain extent, because I do think the system is messed up and kind of creates certain things to hold people back. But as long as you're not being poor to other human beings, I don't care what you are, what you do, or anything like that. And that's where I think I look at, like, the way I live.
You're open-minded. A lot of people don't think like that.
Of course not, because they're structured to just this. I really believe that we were structured in life from very bad, powerful people to believe things that we shouldn't believe. Like the TV tells us certain things. All these things that were constantly thrown into our faces is meant for us to be at war with each other and humanity, which is not okay. And why a lot of times I like to do stuff like this to really get in depth and show people that we are very similar human beings regardless of the differences that we have and things that go on in our life. And it's really just understanding whether or not that person's differences are affecting you negatively or not. And if they're not affecting you negatively, then why worry about it?
Right.
So
I think the people that have the biggest problem with it are dealing with it themselves.
100% insecurity.
And that's why they have the most rage towards you. That's what these whole gay bashings are about.
Yeah.
The guys that can't deal with their own sexuality.
Yeah.
So let's go beat up the guy who is living his life comfortably.
Yeah, I think that comes with everything. You know what I mean? The reason why people hate on others is usually because of what's going on inside of them.
Right.
And I deal with that a lot. You know what I mean? I'm retired now, and you know how many people hate me because I'm retired? You know how many people are upset?
You earned it.
Yeah, I'm 35 years old. I waked up, I went to work every single day. I dealt with a lot of shit, things that people in their life cannot probably deal with, And that type of stress will bring you to different levels. It'll either break you down or it'll bring you to a real level of clarity in your life. And it's hard. And I feel like with people in your lifestyle, it's the same way. It's either going to break you down or it's going to bring you to clarity and real freedom of your life. Yeah. Do you feel like you're free in life? Yeah. More than ever?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I would never want to be anything other than what I am right now.
Love it.
I've tried it. I tried to, this is so screwed up, but back in the 80s, my parents were not well with the whole gay thing. So I went away to this place to become straight, if you could believe it.
Really? They have places
They have
like
like
that?
a conversion therapy. So I went up to Vermont and I spent this weekend up there. It was a fucking nightmare. It was all.
How old were you then?
It was all married couples.
Were you old or not?
Oh my God, I was like 23.
So fairly young.
So most of the couples there were husbands and wives.
Really?
So I remember them telling you.
And what was one of them like?
The husbands were all gay, and their wives. I felt bad for the wives.
Yeah.
They were all in these marriages with these guys that just couldn't deal with themselves, and I come in there. I was single and had on a tank top and tight shorts.
Well, they were all coming at you.
They're telling me you can't wear these outfits to class. You're turning everybody on. I'm like, they're telling me you got to wear your dick down in your pants. Can you imagine? Oh yeah.
Wow.
You had to become like genderless. So.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is so not for me. And my heart started skipping really bad. I had to wear a Holter monitor. I had.
What do you think it was? Stress, anxiety?
Yes, because of the stress of trying to be what I wasn't for everybody else. So finally, I just said, fuck everybody. This is who I am. And my brother and I talked about it. My brother wasn't out of the closet yet, but he helped me come to terms with myself. My brother always accepted me, I think, because he knew he was, but I didn't know he was yet.
So it took him quite a while in life.
11 years after I came out, he came out. He was 40 when he came out.
Let me ask you this question.
I was 19, I think.
18 so 19. All right, so 19. You were young at like 5 years old having these feelings and this and that, and you have a brother who's about 6 years older than you or whatever. 11 years older than you, I'm sorry. And now, did he have any inclinations of knowing that about you when you were young, a child? Like, did he feel like you were like that?
I think he probably did. I never asked him that. I'm sure he has, yeah.
I wonder if he also, did you ask him if he felt that way at a young age too?
Yeah, he did. He told me. Yeah.
Okay, that's
now he told his wife before they got married that he had these feelings. And she said, oh, it's okay. You're just horny. She dismissed them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not like he went in total, like, lying to her about who he was. So he did tell her.
Yeah, that's good. That's good that he was doing that and trying to, and I think that's probably a lot of, that approach brought him probably to where he is now. You know what I mean? Because most people would just hide it. And
I always tell him I admire him. I know it was hard. He had 2 kids. I know it was the hardest thing for him to do that, but he did the right thing for himself, for his wife, and for his kids.
And he's free now, as free as you are, happy and all that. Yeah,
Yes.
That's great. That's what it's all about. It's about getting to that point.
Yeah.
Now, so you go to this thing. That obviously didn't work when you went to that little retreat.
That was it for me.
So you get out of that, and you came out at 19, so you went to that at 23. When you came out, let's get to that point. Throughout high school, okay, obviously you went to Naugatuck High School.
Yeah.
You were you experimenting during that time? No. When did your first experiments
19.
happen?
Can you imagine? That's late.
And that is late, I would think,
Yeah,
especially when you were having all these feelings prior. Did you have experiments with women before?
Well, let me go back to 16. I wanted to commit suicide.
Ooh,
because of it.
Yeah.
Because that's a huge pill. When you finally realize what's going on, you're like, oh my God, how can I be this different from everybody that I know? Everybody's going to hate me. It's like all the shit that runs through your head. And I remember having the pills in my hand, and I'm thinking about it. And I said, no, I can't do it. Fuck it. I said, I'm just going to just take this, go down this road, wherever it's going to take me. And I just took a deep breath and never thought about that again. But there was a moment when I thought of ending it because of it.
I think a lot of people in life do that and have those thoughts. That's another thing that's very, people don't talk about or people frown about is when individuals get into situations like that where they feel like they can't go on anymore. That's a common occurrence in life, and people think that it's so uncommon and taboo.
Well, don't forget the year that was in the 70s.
Yeah.
So, that shit wasn't talked about.
No.
When
do you think it started? 80s? Was it the 80s, early 90s, late 80s that it started to get more acceptable?
Or the early 80s. It's around 1982, the year I came out. Can you imagine? 1982.
Yeah. 3 years. That was 3 years prior to my birth.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So, yeah, it's a long time ago, but it was starting to get a little better.
Yeah. Now, 16, you said that's when you had these thoughts you wanted to possibly end your life because of it. Yeah. Now you say, no, I'm not going to do this, and you take this other route now.
Yeah. I had girlfriends. You asked me. I did.
Yeah.
And then I kind of knew, I could see what you see in women. I don't hate women at all. I want to be clear on that. Some gay guys hate women. I don't. Some lesbians hate men.
What do you think that is, though?
I don't hate half the population. So stupid.
Let me ask you this. Now that you said that, the men or the women, like say they lesbians that hate men and gay men that hate women, do you think that they maybe turned homosexual because of their hatred for the other sex? Or because maybe that other sex did something to them, they have trauma from that?
Well, I just never understood why become something what you hate.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of society does that. And for example, I'll give you an example of what a lot of people do. And we talked about childhood and stuff like that. A lot of people become their parents and they hate their parents.
Right.
And it's the most ironic thing I see in society. I've had many people that I talk to, and they have such poor childhoods because of their mother or their father, and they hate that, but the qualities in them are so similar, and they're doing the same things, and they're going down the same path.
Just repeating what you learned. Remember I told you, I said your first relationships with your parents.
Yeah.
So we end up subconsciously becoming that again. Everybody becomes their parents.
The subconscious mind is the most dangerous thing, and you have to, 90% of your life is in the subconscious, and people don't get that. And you can change it around, but it takes a lot.
I just want to be clear, too. I'm not judging anybody that's become that. I've just often wondered why become something of what you absolutely hate.
Yeah.
And that person, like they hate those qualities of a man, so they become that. And the guys would become the worst side of a woman.
Yeah. And that's where, it's funny because I brought you on today because, I like I said, for people to understand others. And for me, I don't have hatred towards any type of person in life. As much as the media, and yes, I'm talking about you because you guys like to bash me for no reasons, as well as other people, because that's just what's happening in society today. But the reality of it is, look at the name of this show. It's called For the Love. Why do you think I do it? You know what I mean? It's because I want everybody to love each other. I want everybody to care about each other, understand each other. For me, I don't understand a lot of things. but I don't put them off either. I don't make them a taboo thing or bad. I want to understand and I want to care or say, now that I know, I get it. Now that I know, I can see it from that person's perspective, because perception is a huge problem in life today. Like somebody sees a gay man, they automatically, and I think a lot of guys deal with this, they automatically get put off, or they don't want to be around him, or they can't talk to him, or this and that.
There's a few select people at the gym that don't speak to me.
Yeah, just because of that. Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, don't flatter yourself. I'm not into it. It's just like I could stand next to a straight guy. I think because of my size, too. It puts a lot of people off.
Yeah, you're a big dude.
I'm almost 260, 6'3", so a lot of guys are freaked out about that.
Are you technically, what's the term that in the gay life? What would you be? What is that
daddy.
called? A daddy?
A daddy bear, I guess.
A bear, right? That's what I heard. Yeah,
bears are hairy guys that are over 40.
Okay, so
you're considered a daddy over 40.
Oh, okay. So that's the term.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Now, yeah, that's what I see, and I see guys that they just get. It's almost like, I can understand, and there are the gay men out there that try that. It's almost like a game to them to try to turn straight men like that. Have you seen that?
Say that again.
Where there's certain types of gay men out there that kind of make it seem as if it's like a game to try to turn other straight men gay.
Okay,
you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Have you seen those types of guys?
Yes.
And I think that's where like certain men that are straight get turned off or don't want to talk to gay men, because there's certain types of gay men that do that, right? Where they walk up to other guys and they're just over the top with trying to get that into their life. And I'm not a big believer in pushing any type of lifestyle down anybody's throat.
No.
I'm a believer in letting everybody live their life and figure it out for themselves. So I think that's what causes a lot of that is, in my opinion, is a bad outlook on guys like you. You know what I'm saying? And that's what makes other men that are not gay kind of like stray away from talking.
Sure.
It's stupid in reality, but it's humanity. It's just how, I think people need to understand, like, not every gay guy's the same.
I've been with some straight men.
That are straight,
Yes,
like legit. Well,
yes.
let me ask you this though.
So
Are they really straight in reality? No, obviously not. What would be your perception of that? If you've been with a straight man who's like, you're saying you've been with a straight man who's never has done a thing with a man ever.
Yes.
And you were there
say,
first time.
I'd say, now don't forget I'm out almost 40 years. So
yeah.
I would say about 6 different guys in those 40 years that were straight, and they approached me.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? So that's kind of interesting, because the fact that they're approaching you means that they probably have these thoughts. They got to have them.
I think there's a lot of gray areas. And a lot of people are programmed to think they have to be certain things their whole life.
Of course.
Straight men have to be the alpha male, have to do this.
Yeah.
I'm glad the gay side of being gay, I don't have to subscribe to all those rules.
Yeah.
And that's very freeing. I actually feel sorry for a lot of the straight guys, because they have to, I got to have that pickup truck. It makes me a man.
Yeah,
I got to have a collection of guns. And not that there's anything wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying that's a lot of shit that's drilled in by society. So I think when you're asking me about these, are they really straight? I think there's a lot of gray area that these guys have to push down.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that.
And I think, it was good.
Well, they
times
push,
for me.
they push them down with the things like you said, the trucks and the this and the that or whatever.
Not that that's a bad thing. I'm just saying these are
It's hard to figure out.
Guidelines you're forced to fall into.
Yeah.
As a straight man.
Yeah.
Where a gay man, I could buy a VW fucking bug convertible and not give a fuck driving it.
Yeah, right.
But I wouldn't. I'm just saying
Yeah.
I could, where a straight man would never be caught.
They can't get away with it, or they
No,
can't. Yeah,
right.
you know what I mean. It will make them. They'll end up being called that because of that. You know
And
what I
don't
mean?
give a fuck because I am that.
Exactly. Yeah. It's quite ironic in a way. Now, so you had these guys. They were straight. They were whatever.
Yeah.
And what was the end result of that? Did they end up turning gay after, or did they not? Did they continue
Some of
that
them
life?
really liked me.
Yeah.
And some of them still participate with me.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
That's listen.
One of them, I should say one.
Yeah. Okay. Now, to me that's so interesting, because these now are these, would you consider them bi? Do they still mess with women
Well,
now? After messing with you, do they mess with women again now?
Yeah, I always say bye now, gay later.
Okay.
But I don't know it's not for me to say what they are, but I would assume, and I look at it as they're not just.
Do you think
don't want
that
to deal with their lives?
Right. Now
it's easier to just compartmentalize me. Put me on the shelf when you need me, and when you don't need me, put me back, and then.
Gotcha.
They kind of live their lives, and I don't know how they do it because I could never fucking do it.
As a gay man, do you think bisexuality is legit?
I know I'm going to get a lot of flack when I say this. No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I just think you either are or you're not.
Yeah.
But a lot of people say, no, it's not true. I like both. Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not arguing. I'm just saying how I feel. You're asking me what I feel.
Yeah. As you've grown throughout society, obviously knowing this for a long time in your life and seeing how society reacts to things, how the changing in generations and such, that now we're in a generation where obviously there's so much pronounced discrepancy and just like controversy regarding genders and all these things. Now, what's your opinion on there's all these different sexualities? I can't even keep up with them.
Yeah, me neither. I don't understand
How did that happen?
I don't know.
You know what I mean?
I have no explanation for any. I don't even know what to say about it.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, it's male and female, and everything else in between, I don't understand. Yeah. And I'm not judging. I just don't understand the whole logic behind it.
Yeah, like I don't even know what some of these are: pansexual, asexual. I
don't either.
Certain, I don't understand. And I'd like to. If you are somebody
like trying to redefine the wheel. Or redo the wheel again. I'm not sure why.
Yeah. Well, it seems like society does that often. You know what I mean? They constantly have to come up, or they think they're being different. And now that because they're being different, they want to implement that into the lifestyle for everybody. And that's where we come into society.
The pronouns you have to use. You have to be careful which pronouns you use. Like you're best off just saying like, hey, you there?
Yeah, I mean, it becomes very confusing for other people that aren't in that life. And this is where, like we've talked prior, where if you are one of those people that live that life, that's great. But we have to understand each other, and they have to understand that maybe society doesn't understand them, and we got to figure it out some way. So that's why when I sit here and I'm like, okay, we got all these different sexualities. We got people that want people to be compassionate towards that, which is great. But we have to be compassionate towards each other on all aspects, meaning if you have a different sexuality, then that's great, but you have to also be compassionate towards straight people. You have to be compassionate towards whatever it is in life. Compassion is going to get you further. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the hatred. How much hate did you get because of it?
Being gay?
Yeah.
Which decade? Because it changes as it went on. It got easier, but in the 80s, the 70s, when high school and stuff, you didn't talk about it. There was a lot of hate.
So nobody in high school knew?
No. I kept it, very quiet, and I was learning about myself where I was at with that. Mm-hmm. I finally figured it out though. Around 16, you know what's going on at that time.
Yeah, and then you kept it kind of quiet until you knew it was the right time.
Yeah, and then the 80s were pretty good. I didn't catch too much flack. No, it's pretty good. I always just kind of
your size too has to kind of put people off to not maybe bully you as much as they would. You know what I mean? Which kind of is ironic because it's like
I still get people to think I'm straight, and listen, all gay men. Nobody's 100% butch, but it's so funny when I go out. I have a lot of straight friends.
Yeah.
And one of them was a good friend of mine. Her name was Roxy, and so every time we go out, they always think we're a married couple.
Yeah.
And they'll say, "How long you married?" I go, "We're not." I go, "I'm gay and she's straight," and they think we're joking.
Yeah.
And they're laughing. I go, "No, really, I'm gay and she's straight." And they don't believe me, and I have to tell her. She goes, "No, he's telling you the truth."
Yeah, you don't come off as very flamboyant or very. You'd have to tell me basically. Right. Which when we were in the gym, that's basically what happened. Like I didn't know any of that.
Well, I think the spectrum runs like really gay to really butch. I don't know. Everybody's in between. Yeah. And I don't judge anybody where they're at with that. It just happens to be I'm just more.
It's just odd though how they get to that. Where like we talked about earlier, how do you become more flamboyant of a gay man or more of a butch?
Let's go back to when they're kids. I could spot it in a kid.
Yeah.
And now we've all known little boys that were really effeminate. You see it in their kids. You see girls that are really butch. It starts at that age. So I don't know, and I think as you grow, that either stays with you or leaves you, or it gets worse. No, I'm just saying more dramatic with that. And I think a lot of guys tend to lean that way. And it's not a judgment or a bad thing. I'm just saying that's my opinion of it. I could see it in kids. I saw it in my brother's son. He was 3 years old. I said, "Oh, your kid's gay." "Don't say that." I go, "It's the truth, though. He is." And he is.
Oof. And so he ended up being...
But I saw a lot of myself in him. And, I could spot it in kids across the street. Parents don't know yet. And I just say, "Oh, they got a gay kid."
And that's where we talk. That's where we talked about earlier, is it genetic? You know what I mean? And if the parents can't see that at an early age, then maybe it is genetic. If you could see it that early, it's so interesting.
I could tell by eyes too, people's eyes.
Really?
Yeah.
What? I
don't know. It's just they call it. I guess gaydar. We all have built-in gaydar.
Yeah, I have heard of that.
And some people aren't even aware that they are. That's the best part.
Yeah.
And I see that they are, and it's like I'm not.
And they don't even know.
No, I know they're going to figure it out, but it's just or they don't want to deal with it, or
they probably push off the thoughts or whatever it is. I mean, that's there's probably a lot of people like that. Like I said, like the guys that are going home to their families like that.
Yeah, and I feel bad for everybody involved. I don't judge anybody because. It's a big pill to swallow who you are.
Yeah. 100%.
And once you deal with it though and learn that self-love, everything
else will
fall into place. I understand a lot of people worry about, breaking up a family finances. You're worried about your pension. You're worried about what people are going to say. That all.
Have you dealt with all that?
I know people who have. My brother went through it.
Yeah.
No, I knew at 18 that I was gay finally. And I said, I am not going to hurt some woman's life. I'm not going to fuck her up and bring kids into this and ruin her life.
Yeah, that's good.
I just couldn't do that. I wouldn't want it done to me.
Right.
And I'm not judging my brother that did. You got to remember the generations.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I just think a lot of people are afraid.
Yeah.
And if you realize there's nothing to be afraid of, just live your life. You only get one life.
Yes. And that's why people look at me and they think I'm crazy because of the way I live my life. I'm tattooed out. I'm this and that. I do what I want in my life, but I won't hurt people. I won't hurt people, but I will get what I want out of my life, and I will strive to achieve that at all costs because I don't know when this is going to be taken from me.
Right.
And why wouldn't you do that?
Right. Exactly. How many years do they think we have left? All of us. Seriously.
Think about
most of my life is lived already. I got, if we're lucky, 20, 30 good years left.
Yeah.
Let's hope that's the best.
Yeah.
But I would never want to be living a lie. When I stand before God, He's going to say to me, "What'd you do with your life?" "Oh, I lived a lie."
Yeah.
To thine own self be true. So if I could say, "God, I lived my truth."
Mm-hmm. And think about that. I mean, if you are a religious person,
I'm very spiritual.
Yeah.
I pray every day.
I'm the same. And I meditate. I pray every day. And I grew up Catholic. I grew up on. I
was an altar boy.
Yeah. I grew up on. That's interesting. Is that a?
No,
that's a stigma to gayness.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know that, but I just know that everybody thinks the Catholics are all pedophiles. Not at all.
Yeah.
My church, they were awesome.
Yeah.
No issues with the nuns. They're absolutely wonderful. The priests were wonderful.
Yeah.
It was a great time.
Yeah.
And they actually closed the church 4 years ago. It was one of the saddest things going back there.
Well, I think religion now is like really getting attacked hard.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of evil has been brought into religion, which like we talked about this earlier prior to this podcast. For me, I grew up Catholic, and that's just what I've known, implemented into me by my childhood and my parents. Mm-hmm. And then as I got older, negative things start happening to you in your life, and you start to, lose a little bit of faith because of the negativity, because negativity is very strong. It's very powerful, takes over. And when you start to see people that run around society acting like they're so godly, some being priests, some being pastors, whatever they are, and then you see them getting locked up, or you see them lying and doing all these bad things, you start to say, "Oh my God, like how can I put all my eggs into this religion basket and live the only life I'm going to have following these people when they're not even doing what they're saying?" But I got to a point where I really had to sit down and say, it's not about those. I'm following the wrong people.
Well, listen to this story, Jay. 1986, my cousin was a born-again Christian. I became a born-again Christian, too. I was always searching for God in my life. I always made him a priority. A lot of people might laugh at that, but that's what kept me grounded and sane through all this life. So she took me to this church in Naugatuck. It was the first time going in there. Place was packed. And of course, when you're new, they all want to know what your deal is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so my cousin said, "Oh, he's gay," so they think they're going to convert me.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, long story short, the pastor's up there in front of the church, and he's talking, doing his thing, and praying, and all of a sudden he stops. He goes, "I got to stop everything first." He walks right over me, goes right in front of everybody, goes, "Excuse me, but by you being here and being gay, God's not going to answer the congregation's prayers. So you have to leave."
Whoa.
And I didn't know. I would thought he was. I didn't know what to do. So I just stood up, walked out. I remember, and walked out of the church.
Oh.
I wasn't welcome there because I said, "Geez, I didn't know as a gay man I wielded that much power."
Yeah. Yeah.
That God's
wild.
not going to answer their prayers. So I mean, let's ask yourself: would Jesus ever do that?
That's the thing.
So then
I know.
Said, that was the day, Jay. I never went back to organized religion. I said, "Fuck it. I don't want any part of it anymore." So I pray on my own. And
yeah, that's the same here. I don't specifically go to a church. I have my own beliefs. I read the Bible. I read scriptures, and I look to certain people that I feel are genuine that can give me quality advice on understanding religion.
Right.
And then I implement Buddhism into my religion because that way of life is very, peaceful to me. And that's what I think it is. I think that a big problem with religion is that there's a lot of lost people looking for religion to save them. And
my brother always said the most troubled people flock to religion.
they do.
Especially the born again. And I don't want to be mean to anybody.
Yeah.
I'm just saying a lot of them have big issues.
Well, they go from one extreme to another, and I've met them where they're looking to be saved. They feel that they have been saved by God, which is great.
Yep.
But they lived a life prior to that was probably reckless or very negative or whatever it is, which has brought them to that looking for the Savior. They get the Savior, and then it's basically one extreme to another. Now their whole life is about that Savior and living for that Savior.
Now they sit in judgment of everybody.
Yes, it's
not
ironic.
good. Yeah,
it's ironic.
I don't hate anybody. Like I said, I just got away from organized religion, but I did get into the whole kind of new age stuff. I got into consciousness. I understand about all that.
Yes.
Studied it's great stuff. And,
there's a doctor called Dr. Joe Dispenza. You ever hear him?
No.
I'm going to send him his YouTube. He's a doctor. He talks about thought process. He talks about your conscious, how most people are. He changed my life a lot about how most people are living in their subconscious.
Yes.
We're living in our pasts and our past traumas, our childhoods, all the things that happened in our life we are holding on to.
Right.
And
that's why you have to forgive everything.
Yes.
You have to.
Yes.
Because you'll never go forward.
I don't hold. Here's how I live. I've had a lot of shit go on in my life. I had a lot of people trying to fuck me over. I still have people trying to fuck me over because other people are unhappy with their lives. And when they see other people getting something that they want, instead of them trying to learn from that person, they want to break that person down. And, because of that, it's brought a lot of negativity around and stuff. And, my spirituality is through my thought process. It's through feeling. It's through my belief that the world gives you all the tools. All the tools to succeed in this world and be happy are free. Free. That's what's so wild. And people don't really use them. And what I mean by free is, spirituality is free. You can find that within yourself. Connecting with human beings is free. You can find that anywhere you go. And these things will bring you clarity to life. They will bring you a lot.
But it's also about vibration. Where you vibrate is what you're going to bring in. So if you're vibrating low, meaning you're always nasty, negative, bad attitude, piss poor about everything in life, you're going to draw everything that matches that vibration. So the higher vibration you go, the better life you're going to have.
Okay.
So look at people's lives that are tanked with all these problems. Listen how they speak. Mm-hmm. And they create it. They don't even realize they create out of default instead of on purpose. You can create on purpose your own reality, but most people just default and they go into that negative.
That's what this doctor would say. Yeah.
So
he would say the same thing. He would basically say that your body. This is why disease, they say, is and he says this is scientifically proven at this point. They're doing a lot of studies on it, how stress and stuff like that and negativity brings diseases.
Oh, yeah.
And
a disease in the mind is a disease in the body.
Mind-body connection.
Yes.
So, and I'll give you an example. When I was going through a lot of stress, a lot of negativity, through my life, I felt like I was like an 80-year-old man. My body felt like shit, aching, because there was a point in time where I couldn't escape it. The career brings a lot of it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people play the victim card in life. So when you become a victim of life and you have all these things going on, the negativities and whatnot, you almost try to sympathize with the negativity, and you say, well, I'm allowed to be negative. I'm allowed to be poor and have this poor outlook because look what happened to me. Right. So that's how you live, and then your body starts to, when people don't understand, there's chemicals inside your body that release good hormones or bad hormones. Right. And when you're living a negative life, your body turns off those good chemicals. So, you're really just creating your own environment of disease and health, poor health, and poor thought process and all these things. Your body's reacting and living off of stress.
And how you gauge that, how you gauge where you're at daily is by mirroring. Understand what mirroring is? Mirroring is everybody in your life is mirroring you. Mm-hmm. So if somebody's screaming at you, that's your own rage coming back at you. That should be a red flag to say, oh shit, I got a lot of anger inside me that they're screaming at me. It's really you. They're just mirroring what's going on for you inside. Yeah. So if you're pulling in all positive things, and that's you're on the right track. Yeah. Yeah. So remember mirroring. A lot of people don't want to accept that because you got to give up being a victim.
Yeah. Well,
mirroring
you're right.
means you're owning your shit.
Yeah. That's why I tell people all the time, I'm like, you can't look so deep into how another human being treats you. You really can't. You have to just be like...
It's really all about you.
It is, because that person is mostly treating you that way because of how they feel inside or what they don't have in life.
No, about how you're feeling inside.
Well, yeah.
Remember, they're mirroring you. So what you're feeling and how they're treating you is what's going on inside of you. It's all about you, not outside of you. Not so everybody thinks it's outside.
Yes. Well,
so your reality is just mirroring what you're feeling.
My belief system is that your real environment is inside of you, not outside of you.
Well, yeah, because the God is within you, the creator.
And what I mean by that is if you have a thought process that, this is what you need to do in life to make yourself happy, whether it's pray, whether it's meditation, whether it's treat people good or positivity and doing good things, that comes from within. A lot of the negative in life comes from outside circumstances, outside environments. Whether it could be your childhood, it could be your parents, it could be your friends, it could be your job, it could be all these things that are on the outside of you. But you can really deflect those things by having a good internal environment. And the problem is most people in this life don't ever get to a point where they can realize that, or they don't search for it, or they don't understand it, because we're so caught up in the fast-paced life. And we're just moving quickly, and we want what we want. We become a selfish society, and when things don't go our way, we don't really sit there and look as to why. We start to blame.
Well, what's going on in the world is everybody's basically disconnected from source. Nobody's connected to God. If they did, we wouldn't have any of this crap going on. You would lead a better life. Yeah. You'd think better. You'd have better positive thoughts, and you wouldn't be wanting to tear everything down and destroying. I mean,
exactly. And
it's very sad. We're living in some crazy times.
Some would say biblical times.
I'm so glad I grew up when I did, because it was a whole nother world. Yeah. I tell people I'm glad I'm at this point in my life, because most of my life is over now, and
you feel like the future is going to be weird.
Oh God, I don't know what to think, but I know if I had children, I'd be a wreck.
Yeah. That's something I worry about. That's something I worry about. And I said to myself, I'll give you an example. I'm 35, and a big reason why I didn't have kids was, not only that the right person wasn't there for that or whatever, but, I also wasn't somebody in society, and I see this a lot, where people rush their lives. They get to a certain point, they're 30 years old, they're like, oh my God, all my friends are getting married. Oh my God, all my friends are having kids. I need to do that.
That's the worst thing
now they picked the wrong person. Right. Now you know what I mean? You're doing it for all the wrong reasons. I looked at my life and I said, holy shit, my career is crazy. A lot of stress in my life, a lot of negativity because of the stress and stuff like that. I said, I can't bring a child into this world. I can't do it. It's not fair to them. And when I do that, I want to be able to focus and give them everything. I want my life to be their life. Meaning like, I don't really have a life anymore. It's to implement them with the best life they can have. Exactly. And if I can't focus on that because I have all this external bullshit going on, it's not fair to them, and things are going to turn out poorly.
I also do think, though, I agree with what you're saying, but I do think this generation of parents are too much with the kids.
I agree.
They're too helicopter parents. They don't allow the kids to have a moment to themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Always on the go. Always. Every straight parent I know, and I'm not knocking them, but have all their kids involved in sports. These kids don't have a time to sit and think for themselves.
Yeah.
It's go,
Yeah.
go. I say to myself, I would never want that for me and my kids. You have to allow the kid to have some time to think, or do they read a book?
Yeah. Let them do what they want to do.
Yeah. I don't like this whole super structured control. To me, it's control.
Yeah.
So nobody has to feel. Nobody has to feel. Nobody has to think. Let's just do. Let's just keep moving.
Yep.
And I don't like that.
No.
It's not healthy.
No, absolutely not.
But I would never say that to anybody. I'm just, my opinion. If I was a parent, I think I'd be a little more lenient.
Yeah.
But I'd have my eye in their life, but I wouldn't be
Yep.
on top of them,
Of
their every fucking move. I won't want it for me. I remember in high school, if my parents ever did that, I'd be like, get out of here.
And you want to know something? In reality, you're gonna learn the most from failing. You're gonna learn the most from doing things that you probably shouldn't have done, or whatever. That's how you get experience, and that's how you say this is for me or it's not. When somebody else, and I've experienced these people that are in their 20s now, and their whole life has been controlled, even up to this point where their parents do everything for them, and they cannot survive in this world.
They did them no favors.
No favors.
I know families, I'm not going to say any names, that have children in high school who don't do a fucking thing around the house.
Yeah.
Won't cut the grass, won't put the trash barrels in. I say to myself, my father and mother had a list of things we had to do. Yeah. And we did them. We didn't get our ass beat. Mm-hmm. I'm serious.
Yeah.
And I see these kids parade in and out, walk by the barrels that are laying out in the yard for 3 days. Can you imagine? I say to them, and that twists me up because I'm like, it doesn't even occur to them, let me help my father.
Yeah.
Or let me help my mother out. Yeah. I live here. I don't understand that. And like when they get out in the real world, good luck.
Well, I think, yeah, exactly. And I see it. I see how lost they are. They don't know how to do anything. And even at an older age, you got their parents picking their jobs for them, picking their vehicles, picking everything they want.
Crazy.
You know, it's crazy. It is crazy.
I thank my parents for the way they were. They weren't the best. They did the best they could. But my mother and father, there was no babying in our house.
Yeah.
None of that. You get a job and get out. That was it. That was the whole upbringing.
I look at it and I look back at mine and I say, you know, my dad lived in Michigan, so I didn't have my dad around. I had to kind of figure out how to be a man on my own through trial and error. My mother, great mother, she's a very hard worker. And that's where I got my work ethic from, was my mother. She implemented a lot of hard work. Plus, you know, it was just me, my mom, and my sister, you know, and I had to be the man at times. And, you know, I'm sure my mom had a lot of stress in her life, and every parent has their own issues going on within themselves. And when you get put into a situation like that where you're a single parent, it's even harder. But I had to learn a lot on my own. And a lot of it was through failure, trial and error. I didn't have somebody there to really teach me specific things. But I credit a lot of my life to my mother with her work ethic, and that's where my success came from. Now, emotionally, I had to learn on my own. I wouldn't say my parents were there emotionally for me as much, but that's common. I think, you know,
it's that generation.
I think it's just common, you know what I mean? Because their parents weren't very emotional with them, and that's learned behavior, and then that's how they learn to parent, and that's all they know.
There was never, in my house, nobody ever said I love you. My parents to us kids, it was understood as food on the table, roof over your head, and clothes on your back. Yeah. There was none of that. Yeah, none of it.
Yeah, you always hear the phrase that parents love to use is, "I brought you into this world." But I sit there, I'm like, I didn't ask you to. You know what I mean? So now you have, as a parent, have responsibilities to me. Right. I am basically, you know, I know nothing. You know, you have to now implement the good into me. And I think a lot of parents just get caught up in the stress of that, the life and their learned behavior, and that's what happens. So for me, when I have my kids, I want my kid to learn the most about themselves.
Yep.
I don't want, you know, yes, I want to implement my beliefs that are positive into them, such as being good to people and, you know, not hurting others and stuff like that. But I want them to understand their own talents. And this is something with me, just getting to this point in my life, you know, creativity is my talent. You know what I mean? Yeah. Being myself is my talent. Yeah. And having the confidence to do that brought me a lot. It brought me this show. It brought me businesses. It brought me, you know, even just how I look. All my people don't understand my tattoos, but for tattooing to me is a creativity. It's an art form. And
it's how you express yourself.
Yes, and I look at myself as I love art. Art
you
is my passion.
You don't have my picture on there, though.
I don't. No. Maybe one day. You know, you got to pay for it though. I like tattoos, so I'll tattoo anything. But anyways, no, but I look at it and I say to myself, I like to create. So creation to me is my artistic expression, and I am good at creating. That's where my businesses come from. And I think that people's lives are different. Some people are not good at creating. They're good at math, or they're good at science or biology, whatever it is. You have to find your talent. I believe that every single human being has a talent. Everybody. But a lot of people in this lifetime are not finding their talents. And it's either because other people are pushing them away from their talents or not helping them find it, or they think that they have to be like society tells them to be. And that is really crushing your freedom.
Right.
Crushing your freedom.
Yeah.
We're going to get on a topic of you being a pop singer.
And
that's where we get to talents. Because I look at it and say, you told me that. I'm like, okay. And then you tell me that you did music videos, all these things. Let's get into that. How did you figure out your talent?
I always sang in grammar school, through middle school, high school. I was in all the choirs, the chamber singers, concert choir.
So church probably helped that.
I did sing in a church.
No?
I did sing in a church.
Yeah, I would think that,
I did. And I was in double barbershop quartet. I did a lot.
How did you get into that, though?
I don't know. I just auditioned in school. They were looking for kids to sing, so I went in. I always liked music, so... And we actually got to travel up and down the East Coast, go do concerts all over. Okay. I was in All-State for singing.
Yeah.
Like they have All-State for sports.
So you just had a natural talent for it.
Yeah. So as I got older, I always wanted to do my own stuff. So I kind of searched it out. Like you did, got your own business going. Little by you start little things here and there. And then I ran into a friend of mine who worked at a cable company. Mm-hmm. He said to me, listen, I know you've done some music and I'd like to do some videos for you. I'll do this for you. He goes, I'll do them for free. Mm-hmm. Provided you let me use them as my demo to, I said, fine. So we did 5 music videos. We did them all over. One in Boston, one in Waterbury, one in studio, one in Milford Beach, and the hell was the other one?
That's interesting.
I can't remember. There's 5 of them, but I have some of my music up on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
I don't do it anymore. My age played against me. After a while, you get to be too old, and you just kind of.
Yeah, we talked about how the industry. Yeah. A lot of stuff in this industry and in society is about money, and unless they can profit off of you, and they want the young people, right. You know what I mean. That's what it's all about. So that was your talent. You think that was your God-given talent?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I enjoy it, but the funny thing is, I don't want to do it anymore. Yeah. It was like a page that turned. And people don't understand it. They get mad at me like, why don't you sing in my like, I don't want to.
Yeah. But now that that's your talent that you've probably known your whole life, see, for me, what I realize is this. When I started to try to maybe conform more to what society, because there's times in your life, like you said, where you go back and forth. You're like, okay, I got to try to maybe do what society wants me to be. Right. Let me see if that's going to work. And you do that, you know what I mean? And it's not giving you the same happiness. So for me, there was times where I delve more into my career and said, let me be the cop that these people want me to be. When in reality, and I'll get on policing in other episodes, and I have plans to really put out a lot of my views on what policing is because of the generation and stuff, and how it's really a mess. It's really just they're not letting people be themselves. They're not letting their personalities really flourish in this career. And that's the most important. Personality can bring so much. And I noticed when I got away from the things that I love doing in my life, like I make music, the creativity aspect, business, all these things, and I put more time into that, I became more unhappy because I was doing it for other people, not myself. Right. And when I got back to always doing the things that I loved, it brought me peace, it brought me happiness, and it was the only things in life that really turned my brain off, and a lot of the negativity. What I mean by that is like it's almost like it's like an antidepressant for life. You know what I mean? Where when I make music or when I do creative things, my brain is not thinking about anything else but that. I'm so focused on that, and I realized how important those things are.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't think a lot of people do. They try to conform too much to society. They lose track of their hobbies or their talents. Now, you don't sing anymore. What brings you that in life now?
Oh, that's a good question. I had classic cars. Mm-hmm. I had 7 of them. Cool. I don't have any more. I got rid of all of them. I also, believe it or not, I like to do interior design.
Yeah, okay.
I don't do that anymore, but I've done it for people. Yeah. But It's just I'm very creative. I like putting things together.
Yep.
I like taking something that's old and making it new again, like the classic cars, rebuilding them. And but right now I'm not doing anything.
No? And how do you feel about that? What occupies your brain?
All I do is work.
Yeah.
Yeah, and go to the gym.
Yeah.
That's it.
The gym is big. I mean, I think that some people, if you're utilizing it for the right reasons, I talked about this with my girlfriend earlier, that the gym is a great thing, but it can also be a bad thing. It's a place where there's a lot of insecurity. It's a place where there's a lot of judgment, and it's a place that you can either bring yourself to a very positive place or a very negative place, depending on what you're doing in there. For me, the gym was always about, I want to stay looking good and be in good shape and this and that, but it made me feel good, and that I learned is the most important.
That's why I do it.
Yeah.
Initially, when I started out doing it, to be honest, I did it for the wrong reasons. I was just going out into the gay clubs, and I saw that it's all geared towards body and how your image and how you look. And I knew I had somebody actually telling me, you'd be better looking if you got worked out and blah, 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 blah. I went down a list. I was like, so I thought about what they said. So, I take the criticism, and the first year I was doing it for the wrong reasons. But after I built myself up a bit and I went back into the bar, the same people that I was interested in before that didn't want anything to do with me now wanted me.
Yeah.
And I realized, I said,
not genuine.
I'm still that same person. I just look different. And I said, fuck everybody. I said, now I'm going to do it for me.
Yeah.
And that's when I changed it, and I never stopped. So I started when I was 20, and I'm almost 57. Yeah. So it's a long time.
Great for
preventative. And I do it just for myself. I'm not in competitive level. I don't want to do that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But I still look good.
And I was the same. I've never done any of that.
That's the whole point.
I think that's what people want. They want to look good like that, right? That's the whole point. You want your significant other or the people that you're going after to want you in that manner.
And I also like that in whoever I'm with.
Yeah, you like to have fit people.
Of course. I mean, I don't want to sound shallow, but I think for as good as you want, you have to be that good or better.
Yeah.
That's that's why I live my life.
Yeah. With that being said, have you ever been in situations in this gay lifestyle where you felt uncomfortable with other gay men?
No.
Meaning, the lifestyle is obviously, like you said, there's a lot of gray areas in the lifestyle. There's a lot of more extreme people and less extreme people.
Yeah, well, I've met a lot of characters along the way. I wish they could just put a chip in my head and download it. You would never believe the things I've seen and met, people along the way. Funny, though.
Yeah.
But I was always amazed at the different stories I've heard.
Yeah. But you never experienced those stories for yourself.
Yeah, I know. Like, wow. Like, some people were really, their lives were really like way out.
Did you frequent like the New Haven area during the
whole tri-state
So like
area.
Gotham, were you involved in that?
The whole tri-state area. I was a bartender, and I used to be a bouncer. I was a bouncer at the gay bar here in New Haven called Copacabana.
I don't remember, but I remember hearing of that.
It's where the catwalk is now.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah.
That was an amazing bar when we were there in the late 80s. And they would get in like 1,000 people on a Saturday night. It was crazy. 500 to 1,000 every Saturday. The place was jamming.
Yeah, that's wild.
And the competitive bar across the street, I won't say the name of it, but they used to come in and pull our fire alarms.
Really?
Send people, so we have to get everybody the fuck out.
Oh, that's messed up.
And they come by and shoot at the building.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, we had a lot. It was a rough neighborhood over there, but
yeah, still is.
It was a great time.
Yeah. Then I became
a bartender at a gay club out in Manchester, and that was another whole experience. It was a good time.
Yeah.
Made some good money.
From what I heard about, the eras back then, like the 90s and stuff like that, and the clubbing and this and that, it's almost like that doesn't exist anymore.
No. It's very sad. It was a lot of fun. That's where you really connect with everybody.
Yeah.
You'd see everybody week to week. Hey, how are you? Like you knew their faces. You didn't necessarily know everything about them, but you connected with people.
Yeah.
You'd laugh at people. Now it's like, I did the online dating thing, and you're clearly putting your profile what you're looking for.
Yeah.
5 years younger, 5 years older. I get people 19 years old to 29, and I'm flattered.
Yeah.
But that's way too young.
Is it for you?
19 years old.
Well, I say that because let's be realistic. You see a lot of gay men that do that.
I listen. There's a lot of them that do it. I'm just not one of them that's into it. I prefer somebody 5 years younger, 5 years older, because I'm closer to retirement versus somebody that didn't even get their first job yet.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this question. How important, even if you're not like looking for something, because I feel like every lifestyle is different. You might not be looking for a committed relationship. You might just be looking for somebody to be
Like
there
a
or
fuck
whatever.
buddy?
Well, yeah, but my point is how more important is it to you that the person has a connection with you emotionally, communication wise, and that you can have fun with the person rather than the way they look and stuff like that.
I would go for the connection first, always.
Yeah.
And there are people that I have connections with,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Because like I said, you're saying you're not into the younger crowd, and in reality, a lot of the younger crowd is immature. They have more of an immature mindset.
Right.
So is that something of why you see you don't connect with them?
Right.
And now, is the younger gay community a lot different than your generation? Do you think or no?
No. I'll tell you this something funny though. Last November, my birthday, my friends are like, "You always come with us to the straight bars. We're gonna go with you to a gay bar." I'm like, "We don't have to. No, let's go."
Yeah.
So they wanted to go
That's
to Partners.
cool though, yeah.
We go to Partners. Now, mind you, I haven't been there since the 90s.
Yep.
So I go in there. I didn't know one person. Can you imagine the building? The place looks exactly the same.
Yeah.
I don't know one person except the owner. He
Yeah.
recognized me. And they're looking at me like I'm the new guy. That's when you know you've come full circle.
Right.
Like, are you fucking kidding me? I wasn't attracted to anybody. They're too young. There's nothing wrong with them as people. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm not attracted to that.
It
young.
doesn't give you the vibe.
I feel creepy.
I can understand that. Yeah, even me, if I was to go to a nightclub right now, I mean, and be around college girls and stuff like that,
You feel creepy, like a dirty old man.
Yeah, it's not even like you can't get them. It's not like you
Right.
can't, they're not attracted to you or whatever. It's more or less the fact that I'm more mature. I'm more
Right.
like, and I feel like our levels are just different. You know what I mean? And to me, I have to be around people that I connect with. It's a huge aspect of my life. I have to feel connected
Right.
with you. You know what I mean? Whether you're a friend, a significant other, whatever. Otherwise I feel like I'm wasting my time.
I wouldn't rule out younger, but not really young.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. 30s.
Yeah.
More or less. I recall you telling me a story a while back about some individual in Florida that you were with. Did you have any like really committed relationships?
Yes, I was married.
Yes, that's what I believe the story was.
I was married to a guy who will remain nameless, and we were together 8 years.
Yep.
And then he ran off on me. He met someone else and just left me.
And now, how did that go? How did you meet this guy? How did that all happen?
I met him in the 90s in a bar on a Sunday. They used to have what they called beer bash every Sunday night. They'd get about 1,200 people.
Where was this? Here?
In Hartford.
Okay, yep.
And what they would do is $3 to get in, all the beer you can drink from 6 to 9. And what you did is when you went to the bar, you would just give silver coins, like a quarter, dimes.
Yep.
And all that was collected and they donated to AIDS charities, which was great.
Yeah.
So I met him there and we were friends. And then he had gotten out of a relationship and he called me and we got together. And I saw a lot of red flags that I didn't pay attention to, which I should have.
Yeah.
And it was sad. And he ended up running off and he did me a favor.
Yeah.
I mean, we had everything.
Yeah.
We had the beautiful homes, the cars, the vacations. I lived like a king.
Yeah.
And now I live in a small apartment that I love. It's
Yeah.
beautiful, but I'd rather be by myself than be with that.
It's ironic how life can bring you some negatives
Yeah.
to get to positives.
And whatever.
That's
I'm like really happy in my place. I'm not unhappy.
Yeah.
There is somebody I do love very much.
Okay.
And I don't
Yeah.
I don't talk about that.
Yep.
But
Do they know that person?
Yeah, he knows it.
Okay. And
It's complicated though.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
He's a very good man, and but I keep that quiet.
yeah. Now,
So
you're in a great place. It seems like you're in a great place in your mindset. We talked earlier about who you support politically.
Donald Trump.
You are a Trump supporter, and
Which
listen,
is troubling to a lot of my gay brothers and
Yeah.
sisters. Even my family doesn't understand. Like my gay relatives, they're
Yep.
like pissed off. But
Yeah.
I lost a lot of friends because of it.
So you seem like a logical person, and I feel like a lot of people that are in your position and choose to support somebody like him or whatever, they tend to, as emotional as we can be as human beings, and emotions are very good. In situations like this that we're in society right now, you have to look at logic, a lot of it, and a lot of people running off of emotion, hating certain people and this and that, and believing what's said.
Right.
And you have to look at the logic of life and what's going on here. Logically, do you think this individual, Donald Trump, is a gay basher, hates gay people, is racist? Why are you a supporter?
Not at all. I think he's a great guy. I think he's doing an awesome job. I think he's one of the best presidents we've ever had.
Yeah.
I don't have one view to vote for a candidate. Like I think most gay people view the gay rights, the gay rights, the gay rights. All right, listen, he's not taking them away.
Yeah, yeah.
He's not doing anything against gay marriage. Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the problem is. I don't know why they hate him so bad, but they hate him.
Yeah.
And
you're right.
It makes no sense.
You're absolutely right about that.
And
that's emotion.
I literally have 5 gay friends left, and they're all conservative.
Yeah.
And we all keep in touch with each other, and it's a small circle. There was actually on Facebook, which I'm not on anymore. I got off like 2 years ago, but there was a group called Gays for Trump, and there was about 3,000 members across the country. Yeah. You know, there are those of us that think like this, but
absolutely.
I don't know what the anger, why they hate him so bad. I think he's great. He's helped so many people, all the minorities. He's helped. I mean, our economy was booming until this whole COVID bullshit.
Yeah.
But
there's a lot of manipulation in politics, a lot of fake news, like he says, all day, and that's what brought, you know, these emotions that people think are real, but they're really not. You're getting mad about something that is probably not even realistic or really happened.
It's all propaganda they're buying into.
Propaganda, lots of it.
And they believe it.
Yeah.
I want to say you gotta look at other places.
Mind
for
of your own.
source.
You got to have a mind of your own. I'll give you an example. Today I was in a conversation with somebody on Facebook, and it's interesting you say that because you got off of Facebook. How do you feel being off of it?
Oh, way better. I don't miss it at all.
Yeah, when I was off of it for a while, I felt great, but for business and things of that nature, it's you got to utilize social media, which is sad. I wish that wasn't the case because I wouldn't be on it. But to get support and to speak your mind, it is a place that gives you a platform. But getting back to Facebook, I lost my train of thought there.
You were arguing with somebody or talking.
Yes. So we're talking about. He basically was talking about Donald Trump, saying like why he didn't like him and this and that. Saying his whole argument was this: his slogan is garbage, and he's a mean person. That's basically all he was saying.
Oh, God.
Where's the logic there? So now I come at people with logic. I don't care. I don't want to talk about your emotions. Facts. I just want facts. Why? Tell me why. And if you're right, then I'll admit that I'm wrong. I don't care. But a lot of time, like I said, people are pushing on emotion. So now when I come at somebody with a response, they want to come back with some bullshit or whatever, and I have to keep continuing with logic. And it usually gets to the point where they want to try to turn it on you and say, I'm not going to get into this conversation anymore, because they can never come with a real response.
Because you're a bigot, they'll say.
Yeah, so this individual, basically how they get out of the conversation without really ever responding to me was that they believe they know more than me because if you Google them, their name will come up because they're a musician. So because he's more prominent in his status from what he feels in life, and he's a musician or a songwriter or whatever, and if I Google him, his name will pop up, he feels he's more prominent, which is very narcissistic. Yep. And in reality has nothing to do with what we were speaking about. And this is what society is doing right now. Crazy. You know what I mean? So your opinion is better because of your status or what you believe about yourself. That's not how life works.
Nope.
And it's just getting very sad to see people live this way.
I lost a lot of friends at the gym that don't speak to me anymore. The gay guys don't talk to me anymore.
It's funny. I see people walk around there with like, there's one guy that walks around with a fuck 40. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like stuff like that.
I want to go up to him and put my middle finger in his
face, but
I just don't.
It's just, I just laugh at these people because I'm like, listen, stupid. I don't care. You can support whoever you want. I'll respect it. You know what I mean? But inciting stuff like this, inciting anger, inciting negativity, I don't like. All right, I will always speak my mind. I'll always tell people what I like, what I believe, who I support, but I don't expect people to agree with me. I don't expect people to be happy with me about it, nor do I care.
The tolerant left, they call themselves, but they're really not tolerant at all. Unless you agree with them, they're tolerant. Yeah. Other than that,
and listen, I'm a conservative, but I'm. It's hard to say because I'll tell you right now, I never voted in my life up until past election. Why?
Wow.
Why? Because I hate politics.
Yeah, I know.
And I don't like politicians. No. A lot of lying, manipulation, fakeness. I'm all about being real, honest, supportive, and actually helping. And when I seen my career getting really affected by certain administrations, Obama administration, and so on and so forth, I started looking more deep into it. and I started to see the lies and how manipulative and how controlling these people are of society. And that's what brought me into politics more and speaking out about it, because I'm fed up with the poor, piss poor humans that are running this country. Mm-hmm. And in reality, what's going on is every race, every sexuality, every whatever you are as a human being is being oppressed. I don't care if you're black, white, orange, yellow, whatever. You are being oppressed by politicians. These people are controlling everything in your life, and they're oppressing everybody because they are not letting us flourish. They will go out there.
Nancy Pelosi's the biggest offender of that.
Oh, God.
Not passing the stimulus check because she wants what she wants.
Yeah,
so
but it's okay for her to do whatever she wants.
Yeah, she don't care about anybody.
These people don't in reality.
No.
They lie. Even when the truth is there, they lie. And there's people that believe this shit because we're structured this way. We are structured. And listen, our parents' generation, even your generation, and older.
I'm your parents' generation.
You are my parents' generation. That's why I popped in my mind. I took a step there. I'm like, oh. But I'm like, they're structured to believe everything they see and are told from these people. Right. Because think about it. When you grew up after work, whatever, how'd you get your information? You got it from a newspaper, or radio, or TV?
Or your family. And
they're getting it from those three things. Right. So when these people go on the TV and they're controlling every aspect of information, you go and you work your 9 to 5, you come home, you're tired, your wife made your dinner, now you sit down to watch the 5 o'clock news, the 10 o'clock news, whatever, and you're being told whatever you're being told. You have no way to figure out whether that's true or not.
Well, I blame a lot of us, everybody in this country, for allowing this to happen, because most of us were not paying attention.
We are the problem.
We were living our lives, ignoring what was going on. Meanwhile, the problem was there. It was festering. And all of a sudden, we're all up in arms because suddenly here it is.
Yeah. It's out in the open now.
It's outrageous now. And now we're like, well, how did this happen? Because nobody was paying attention.
Yeah. Well,
and I'm guilty of that. I didn't follow politics till I was well into my late 30s. I didn't give a fuck.
Yeah. Well, they were very good at controlling it.
I did vote, but I just...
Well, you didn't... I think what it is that...
I did the bare minimum.
People were not exposed to what we're exposed to now. Think of it. The internet, all these things were not around. The people that were controlling the information had a lot of ways to control it and keep things on the low that they didn't want you to know. Now the internet's out. They thought that was going to benefit them, and it's not. Now we have, as humans, other areas to go to figure stuff out, and they can't control it. No. And they're trying with censorship and all these things, and you see it, which should open people's minds up to why would they do these things? Why? But they play on your emotions. Your emotions is what gets played on, and it's a sad world right now, and it just is what it is. But that's where we're at. And Mike, I think we're gonna wrap this up.
This was great.
Yeah, I had a
great time. Hope I didn't bore you to tears.
No, man, I had a great conversation, very in depth, very flowing well, and that's what I like. I like for people to come on here and speak their mind, be comfortable, and talk about themselves and their life, because everybody's going out there in society and trying to be something that they're not, I feel like, and they're lost because of it. And you're a man that has found who he is through a lot of trials and tribulations, and that's what life is about.
It's not an easy road.
That's what life's about.
You have to be tough to
do. But let me ask you this: would you change any of it?
No. But I would never want to relive my life again. I tell everybody once is enough.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that I don't appreciate my life. I'm just saying once enough is plenty for me. I don't reminisce for the past.
I got you.
I don't live in the past.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. And I feel like I said, that's a big problem. People living in the past, whether it's negative or not, you can't do that. Every day has to be a new day. You have to embrace the unknown.
Right.
And you just have to know what you want out of your life, what you'll tolerate and what you won't, and have goals and ambitions. And if you have that and you never stray from that and be a good person, I feel the world is going to bring you those things.
Right.
And it seems like, you strayed on that. You kept a good mindset. You knew that being a good person was a key aspect of life. And even though some people came into your life that really didn't respect who you were as a person or did bad things to you, you're in a good place. And that's what all matters most.
Right.
So I'm proud of you for that. Proud of you,
man.
And listen, this is an ongoing show where we bring people back on to see where their lives are down the road, or we just talk about things. And if you know anybody that may want to come on, you shoot them my way. That's how it goes. And for the listeners as well, if you guys, listen to my show or you listen to my guests and they make points that you like, dislike, whatever it is, talk to me about it. This is all about communication. Life is about communication.
I want to leave you with one last thing to anybody that's listening that's dealing with their sexuality, is afraid. Don't be afraid of who you are. Mm-hmm. Embrace yourself, and everybody else will too.
Yeah.
It's not as bad as you think it is to come out.
You're right.
And October 11th that just passed was National Coming Out Day.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if anybody's aware of that, but
yeah.
You know, it's really that 800-pound gorilla is really a 3-pound puppy.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid and just deal with it, and you'll be happier.
You're right. And I think that's
my advice.
When you find that freedom in yourself to do that, it does motivate other people. It does embrace others to do the same. And when you watch other individuals really being free in their life, you know that's what everybody wants. Let's be realistic. Right. They just don't know how to get there. And that's why I do this. And that's why I bring people on. And I don't care if you think I'm a crazy nut. I don't care if my tattoos, I don't care about any of that. I care about people getting what they want most out of life and being what they want to be. And that's it.
That's it. Get one life. Better use it.
Yep. And that's
Live
it. That's it. For the Love, episode 30. Mike, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
We'll do it again sometime. Yeah. Have a great day.
And I'll see you at the gym.
Absolutely. Guys, you know where to find us. YouTube. The link will be on the show. Check us out. For the Love apparel at the website, forthelove.com. Have a good day.
Don't ever let somebody tell you can't do something. You gotta dream. You gotta protect.